Hello, hello, and welcome, my Capricorn collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. Welcome to your soulmate read for April, May 2020. I am your reader, Angelo, Lyons, president of Drawing the Circle Productions, professional witch, professional intuitive, and fellow earth sign Virgo that I am. But you can just call me Mal, Angelo Lyons, Mal for short. Very, very happy to be serving you today from the comfort of my dining room. Shall we get down to business? Oh, let's, earth signs that we are. This is a soulmate contract reading, obviously, and a general reading. So if you are new to my channel, please do like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and by all means feel free to comment. Take what resonates, because it's a general read, leave what does not, and check your other signs. That's why I do Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs for the general read, so that you can look at it from different angles, because this is a soulmate contract read. Now, there are two videos in the description box below you might want to check out, kind of defining the difference between twin flame and soulmate, what a soul contract is. One by me, one by Hay House author Matt Kahn, as well as his YouTube channel is absolutely awesome. Matt Kahn, All for Love. Go check it out. Really, really good channel. Basically, the foundation of a soulmate contract is that you help each other heal, right? It's just written into the script of the body that you're in the name that you have in this lifetime. But they are not all romantic sexual. You have many soulmates, not just one. I know there's a lot of limitations around some of the definitions, which is why I like the work of Matt Kahn, kind of redefining that for us, very helpful. This reading, however, is about the romantic, sexual, intimate soulmate contract that so many of us are craving. And I think we're craving it because we've been working on this for lifetime after lifetime, right? Trying to learn what we need to learn, but keep in mind, psychology has come a long way. Right now we know what passive-aggressive means, where it just used to be what everybody did, right? So we have more tools available for our own personal healing, therefore also helping each other heal in a soulmate contract can be much more viable. And let's face it, the romantic, sexual, intimate ones are the trickiest, right? So that being said, take a few deep breaths, try and breathe deliberately, mindfully as you can throughout this reading so you can feel what resonates, what doesn't. I will do the same to get you the clearest guidance and grace that I can for your soulmate contract. Whether you are together or not, whether you know each other or not, does not matter. In the quantum with the soulmates, you're helping each other heal. Every time you heal, you help them heal, and vice versa. So you're already connected because we're all one. But how lovely that we have these soulmate contracts during a time of such challenge and complexity. And I'm not talking about it directly because YouTube. Shall we take a nice deep breath? All the decks that I read are in the bottom of the description box. Go check them out because there's other cool stuff in my description box. All sorts of interesting workshops and classes that I've done on Vimeo and elsewhere. But we're going to start with two of the Caroline Myss archetype cards, one for the Divine Feminine, one for the Divine Masculine, which is how I am doing this as a contract. Party number one, party number two. Divine Feminine, Divine Masculine has nothing to do with biological gender, has to do with energetic dynamic. You'll be able probably to figure out which one you are by the time this reading is done, and then this reading will probably make way more sense and pointing at some things that are going on that will help you fulfill the contract. Shall we? Here we go. My collective pantheons of angels, goddesses, gods, masters, and the higher selves of all involved. Please, I need two cards, one for the Divine Feminine and one for the Divine Masculine. In this Capricorn collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign, happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, intimate, romantic, sexual, soulmate contract, April, May 2020. There's our Divine Feminine. Please, one for the Divine Masculine. Thank you so very much. We're off to the races. Those came really easily. Now, before we look at our happy couple, keep in mind these cards, these archetype cards by Carolyn Mace, can be a little triggery. They have written on them a shadow attribute and a light attribute, because archetypes essentially are neutral. The shadow is the toxicity, that which is needing to be healed if it has not been healed already, and what you're helping each other heal. The light attribute is what you're shooting for, the lighter side of it, the gold rather than the lead. Shall we? Who's our happy soulmate couple? Well, this is interesting. Now, this will really prove to you that this is not about biological gender, because you've got the king archetype for the divine feminine. So a divine feminine king, that might be a little hard to reconcile in your brain, but obviously this could be a man or a woman. We'll talk about that in a minute. This is the masculine family of archetypes in a feminine position here. This is the detective archetype, wisdom family of archetypes for the divine masculine. So we'll read these individually. The shadow attribute of the king. Now keep in mind, the United States doesn't usually deal well with the king archetype. Remains to be seen, because we left a king, right? And I'm sure not everybody watching this is from the United States, but I am. So I think you'll get the shadow attribute here. Excessive feelings of entitlement. Keep in mind, entitlement is one of the 7 deadly sins. The deadly sin of the solar plexus, by the way. Rulership without restraint. I'm not commenting on that anymore. Then that, the light attributes. Enlightened, benevolent leadership, benefiting those in your charge. All right, my divine feminine, if you're the Capricorn divine feminine watching this, and again, if you're female, that might be hard to think, well, how am I a king? Really look at your issues of entitlement. We all have them. We all have the 7 deadly sins within us. Even if you're an empath, you're picking up on other people's there. So in terms of, it's my way or the highway, and I get to do whatever I want, and the rest of you can just go pound sand. Tricky. Let's look at the detective archetype. Now keep in mind, this is a soulmate contract. So you're going to help each other heal this, and a detective might be the exact one who could do it. The shadow attribute, voyeurism and falsifying information. Not good. The light attribute, great powers of observation and intuition, desire to seek out the truth. So even if this divine feminine tries to hide and occlude things and, suppress the shadow side of it, they're going to sniff it out, and they're probably going to call it out if they are in their light. Now, a very, very tricky situation here, and keep in mind, it's not that soulmates don't have issues. Of course they do, and it's not that they don't have arguments, that they always get along perfectly. No, but it always tends to work itself out, because the contract is help each other heal. And when they do part ways, they usually part ways amicably. Let's keep going. If you're not sure which one you are, don't worry. We're going to do the element spread. 5 cards with the Daughters of the Moon Tarot for that divine feminine, and we're going to do the same with the Mythic Tarot for the divine masculine detective archetype. But let's look at our divine feminine king. I kind of like saying that. I don't know why. Nice deep breath. My goddesses, please. Top 5 cards, element spread for this divine feminine king archetype in this Capricorn collective. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign, happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, intimate, sexual, romantic, soulmate, satisfying soulmate contract for April, May 2020, please. Element of fire, what does she want? Element of earth, what does she have? Element of air, what does she think? Element of water, what does she feel? Element of spirit, what is the point of view or voice of her soul in this soulmate contract? Thank you very much for April, May 2020. Now keep in mind, I'm going to keep saying he and she just so that my brain doesn't explode with all the pronouns, but remember, we're not talking about biological gender. So, divine feminine king archetype, because remember, everybody has a masculine family archetype, everybody has a feminine family archetype. What's going on with this kingy dingy? What does she want? The Aquarian card, Ixchel, the eagle woman. Now, the thing about Ixchel is, and Aquarians in general, they are fixed air. So think the stratosphere, right? That's why she's up in the clouds. The eagle flies highest, sees furthest. And Aquarians can do that. They can really think outside the box. That's why they tend to be considered rebels and innovators and the freaks of the zodiac. We can call them that, right? Tend not to be overly emotional, but keeping in mind, if this divine masculine is not an Aquarian, sun, moon, rising, whoever, whatever, then what it is that she wants is maybe she wants to see things from a larger point of view. Capricorns are not necessarily known for that. They're more slow and steady wins the race. They're more one foot in front of the other and can be, like most earth signs, a little, well, I don't want to say myopic, but more focused on the here and now, not necessarily seeing that larger picture. So maybe wanting to see their part in the divine plan in all of this, wanting to know more about the higher aspects, the higher mind, but can also mean that what it is that she wants is to have a new relationship with the world. 11th house energy is humanitarian, egalitarianism, right? Charity, right? The humanities, like liberal arts, right? They just want that umbrella understanding of things, perhaps of her own life, perhaps of herself, perhaps in relationships. And it feels like a detective would be helpful to help her get that. What's the element of earth here to help her get what she wants? The Nine of Cups, definitely considered the wish fulfillment card for many readers. I agree. But it's a 9, right? It's not the 10 of ecstasy, joy, and bliss. This is contentment. This is Kuan Yin, if you're unfamiliar with Kuan Yin, the Chinese goddess or bodhisattva, it depends on who you read, of contentment and compassion. So she has a compassionate streak in her, which already says, for a king archetype, we're looking more at the light than the shadow, right? Enlightened, benevolent leadership benefiting those in your charge, right? So liking that about her. So keep in mind when it comes to compassion, the ultimate compassion is understanding that everybody's doing the best that they can, ourselves included, right? That nobody knows it all. She may very much be wanting to see the larger picture of it, but what's going to allow her to do that, though it is very much an air thing that she wants, is to really connect with her heart, to connect with the go with the flow emotion of it all, getting that we are in a new time, everything has changed, everybody's adjusting, it's going to take a while, so let me just be as loving, as compassionate as I can, understanding that everybody is doing the best that they can with their level of consciousness that they have, with the amount of pain that they're dealing with there are all of these factors. So to really tune into the wish fulfillment, because what she wants, she can have, but that's going to come with more compassion and going with the flow than forcing it, right? It's hard to get to the higher mind like this. You kind of have to relax into it. And certainly that is a relaxed pose, a relaxed position there. What's going on in her element of air, since she's wanting an air energy? What's going on in her mental field? Okay, Ace of Pentacles, Nu Qua. Here we're looking at a goddess of potential, of a solid foundation upon which much can be built. I often link this card to the idea of an eggcorn, that within every eggcorn is an oak tree in potential, but not every eggcorn becomes an oak tree, otherwise there'd be nothing but oak trees on the planet, right? That you can crack it under your heel, you can feed it to a squirrel, or you can plant it, nurture it, and help it grow. And then in its life cycle, one acorn once an oak tree drops billions of acorns, right? So a potential for so much more. So I can see in her mental field this seed idea. That's a good word for it. A seed idea that she wants to expand and take to its larger place. And if it has to do with this soulmate contract, maybe she is new to the idea of soul contracts and soulmates and all of that. But one, as a king archetype, she might feel like she is entitled to in the shadow. But that also gets as a king that maybe she needs her queen, right? Her soulmate partner. And the dynamics of the queen archetype and the king archetype really are not relegated to biological gender at all. I have a very strong queen archetype in my energy field. It's actually what's called a Chronos archetype. It's there since birth. My mother is a queen archetype. So I inherited that from her, so to speak, archetypally, and in its shadow, off with their heads. But in the light is that same benevolence, is that same to rule is to serve, which is from the I Ching, Lao Tzu. Interesting. What's going on in her emotional field? Keeping in mind this is a divine feminine, so there is that empathic quality, even though we're dealing with a king archetype. The learner. All right, so learning about her intuition, learning about the healing of emotion through direct experience. Now, the Eight of Pentacles, I love the way that this is depicted here. It is a maiden learning from a crone how to weave blankets, and in the background there we see blankets that have already been done. So she's sort of learning from her past experiences, from her own maturity, or learning from somebody who has already mastered the thing that she is trying to get, perhaps about that higher mind. And what I'm getting from this is that if she can really accept that she knows that she doesn't know, emotionally she will be able to calm down, take it slow and steady wins the race, the big Capricorn lesson ruled by Saturn, and really flow into this. That if she can soften, if she can relax, she's going to find her own emotional world gives her much more wisdom through the experience that she's already had, that she doesn't have to push and force so much. Neat. One more card down for her, and that's going to be the position of spirit, the point of view or the voice of the soul. And keep in mind, for a soulmate contract, that's going to be helpful. Victory. Seven of Flames, not just galloping with fire in your hands, but galloping on cooling lava, which means the unseen is actually moving her in this direction as well. So if she can really tune to her own wisdom, to her own emotional intelligence in this, she will be able to not just get the larger picture. Okay, I just got a flash on this, like particularly in terms of her patterns of relationships up to this point, particularly the romantic sexual ones, and oftentimes that connects back to our parental relationships or lack thereof, that masculine-feminine balance, kind of seeing the larger picture so that she gets, oh, this has been my highly individualized curriculum. This is what I came into this life to work on, to heal, to learn, to grow, and evolve. And to get my own wisdom, so that she is probably ready for her happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, intimate, romantic, sexual soulmate contract. But she's got to watch out for that entitlement. It's a big old turnoff in a time of crisis. Just saying. Let's do the same for the Divine Masculine, shall we? Mythic Tarot, Juliet Sharman Burke. Great deck. Nice deep breath. Mind you that it was D-E-C-K. I do have a Long Island accent that comes and goes like weather and bloat. So let's do this. My gods, please, the divine masculine energy of the universe, please, element spread, top 5 cards for this divine masculine detective archetype in this Capricorn collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign, happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, intimate, sexual, romantic, soulmate contract for April, May 2020. Please, my gods, what's going on for him? His element of fire, what does he want? Desire. Element of earth, what does he have? Element of air, what does he think? Element of water, what does he feel? And element of spirit, what is the point of view or the voice of his soul in this soulmate contract? April, May 2020. Sun, Father, Sage. Sun, Father, Sage. Hey, get over. Let's look. Fire. What does he want, this detective? He wants the sun. Now this card, Apollo, the card of the sun, has come up in this divine masculine position, element of fire, over and over and over. I can't remember exactly which ones because I don't write it down. But definitely check your other signs if you're the divine masculine in this one and see if this is one, if this has come up for you before. Now, so then what he wants is enlightenment. What he wants is clarity. What he wants is to embrace the wholeness, the solar divine masculine energy of healing, of prophecy, of the arts, of discipline. You got to look at Apollo. There are 2 different kinds of music, dance, art. One is Apollonian, which is structured, like ballet, like classical music. It's very precise. And then there is Dionysian, which is well, I'll say modern, but more like slam dancing, more like, you know, freestyle, funk groove, that stuff. And the music, of course, punk rock, rock and roll, and just freestyle in general. So kind of wanting more of the order, and for a detective that would make sense. That if he's really using his powers of observation and intuition, then he's really wanting that clarity in terms of his relationships, to really understand. And okay, I'm getting this in addition, that the sun gives of its energy and infinite generosity, right? So wanting to experience that, the lightness, the joy, the happiness. And it's been said a billion times, it feels like, whenever the sun card is in a spread, in a reading, it lightens the severity of any other cards around it. Now, I'll say that's true of the Divine Masculine, whatever cards come up for him, but that is also going to affect, if he can achieve this, if he can find the sun as it is. Remember, the sun is always shining. Today it's overcast where I am and raining. But the sun always shines. It's just sometimes we have to wait for that a little bit until the clouds pass. And I think that's true societally right now as well. Things will get better. They always do. Sometimes they have to get worse before they do. What's the element of earth? What he has there? The Page of Cups. Now, the mythology here is Narcissus. I would suggest looking deeply into the mythology of that. By the way, it was a major Me Too moment that triggered him turning into the flower Narcissus. Just saying. He resisted and was therefore turned into a flower that bends over and looks at its own reflection. Now, that is the foundation of at least narcissistic personality disorder. That's where it comes from. But because a narcissist can't see themselves, it's very interesting how that played itself out archetypally, mythologically. So what we're looking at here is an immature beginning. It doesn't actually have a zodiac sign connected to it as far as I'm concerned. The other three, the Knight, the Queen, and the King, usually cover that. The mutable, the fixed, and the cardinal. Here we're looking at an immature emotional beginning, but probably self-love. That this detective archetype might need to learn how to love themselves, might never have considered the concept, might have thought of it as a little too airy-fairy, new agey, tinfoil hat, woo-woo land, yogurt taco, Southern California kind of deal, right? Love yourself, right? Well, in a soulmate contract, I gotta tell you, if you don't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love anybody else? Can I get an amen? Thank you, RuPaul of the Drag Race. Saint RuPaul of the Drag Race. So it really has that ability to do that. So if this is the element of earth, something that he already has, then there is a foundation there of self-love, self-respect, the ability to reflect, right? To go a little bit deeper into oneself, but maybe not down into the sub-basement of the underworld, so to speak, because it is a Page of Cups. And when I say immature, I don't necessarily mean childish. I mean sort of like an acorn is an immature oak tree, right? It's just not there yet. We all have to crawl before we walk, before we run, before we fly. Let's keep going. What's his element of air here? Well, in his mind, he's got some mental stuff going on here with the Two of Swords. Now, people will also say the Two of Swords is indecision, but decision to me is element of fire. This to me is more about analysis, right? Maybe going back and forth of which way do I want to see this? Do I want to see it this way or do I want to see it this way? And keep in mind, for a detective, analysis is key, right? Part of the powers of observation. So do I believe this or do I believe that? So it is a mental thing, where indecision is about, well, do I want this or do I want that? That's element of fire. That's Two of Wands for me. It's just how I read. Two of Blades, Two of Swords is about analysis, perhaps gathering information, gathering data, like a detective would. So is in a process that he may be very comfortable with, and of course, wanting very much the light of all of this. And of course, this is relative to this soulmate contract, whether they know each other or not. If they do know each other, he's doing his research. Maybe even something similar here to what she's going through with that the Eight of Pentacles. Some introspection here, but more mental, where she's doing it more emotional, which would make sense, Divine Masculine, Divine Feminine. What's going on in his field of water, his emotions? Second major arcana card here, and it is the card of strength, the 12 labors of Hercules, or Heracles, which is the original Greek, which is interesting because Hera and Heracles are pitted against each other so often in modern culture. And yeah, not his mother, Alcmene, is. So emotionally, he's developing courage, right? He's got the courage, the fortitude to do what's necessary, and particularly in terms of an intuitive skill, right? Because it's powers of observation and intuition that he's developing here, really does have the heart, the emotional guts to follow through with this, the bravery, which I just love seeing. So this detective isn't so very afraid here, but does want to make sure that the facts are in place, right? That he has done his due diligence mentally, but still wants that healing, still wants that clarity, so that he's moving forward in the light and not so stumbling around in the shadow, like, for example, in the card of the moon. It's opposite. What's the point of view of the soul, the voice of the soul, his spirit card? Ten of Flames, that he's really at the end of a cycle of desire anyway, that he's like completing something, one ace of wands, if you will. That journey is in its place of completion and is now maybe really looking at, maybe he's achieved something in his life, has already found the golden fleece, as it were, because that's what the Suit of Flames is about. Jason and the Argonauts, the quest of the golden fleece. Oh, it sounds like the garbage men are coming. I will pause us for a little bit because it makes a lot of noise and the dumpster's like 50 feet in front of my house. I get to watch it happen. So there is definitely a completion of desire here. Probably has come to a place in his life now where he's really more reflecting on what it is that he wants in his life. Has the confidence, which would make sense if he's got the Ten of Flames on the level of the soul, right? The Ten of Flames, the Ten of Wands, and he's got that courage of Hercules there, then it is just about sorting out the mental here so that he can find the clarity that he needs while he's learning how to reflect and love himself. Looking pretty good for him so far. So since I can hear the garbage men coming, I don't know if you can hear the backup beep beeps, as it were. Yeah, here it comes. I'm going to put this on pause for right now, and no time will pass for you, but a minute or so will pass for me. Be right back. You know, I think I must have matured, because that used to drive me up a wall, across the ceiling, and down the other side. I guess this transitional phase we're in has helped us all mature. Blessed be. So we've got both of them down. I'm glad I got his element spread done before the garbage men came. And blessed be the garbage men. They're risking a lot to do what they're doing as well, right? So let's get 5 more cards down on the table. The next 2 of which will be with Healing with the Angels Oracle by Doreen Virtue. 1 card each. What are the angels that are working with them individually, that are helping each other heal, whether they've met each other or not, whether they are sequestering in their domains together or not, right? Let's have a look. Nice deep breath. My angels, please, 2 cards. 1 for the Divine Feminine King archetype, 1 for the Divine Masculine Detective archetype. In this Capricorn collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign, happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, intimate, romantic, sexual, satisfying soulmate contract for April, May 2020, please. 1 for her, please, the Divine Feminine King, and 1, please, for the Divine Masculine Detective archetype. Who she got? Well, this would make sense for a Divine Feminine King. She's got the Angel of Manifestation. So she really is learning, particularly through that victory card, that it's going to manifest. What people don't understand is manifestation is a constant process, right? You manifested this moment. You manifested every step along the way that got you to YouTube, that got you to my channel, that got you to click on this. So we always think of manifestation as something that's happening in the future, but it's happening right now. The thoughts that you are thinking are manifesting emotions, which are manifesting biological changes in your chemistry. Every emotion has a biological chemical component, right? Watch What the Bleep Do We Know, the Polish wedding scene will explain that. So with this card of manifestation, she's on her way in terms of manifesting what she wants, but really I get with that king archetype wanting to do it in a more humanitarian, benevolent way. Maybe she did come from a place of excessive feelings of entitlement and rulership without restraint, and realizing that she ends up alone when she does that. Most people who are struggling with the deadly sin of entitlement usually end up isolated and alone anyway, because nobody wants to be around them. And do understand that the healing grace, the virtue for that is the grace of understanding. Go check out Defy Gravity by Carolyn Mace. You'll see what I mean, as well as my own book, Words of Grace from a Professional Witch, which is on my website but not available right now because there's some glitches. People are buying it and they're not able to download it, and my web guy is so busy he hasn't gotten around to it yet in a month. So there you have it. Whoopsie. What's our divine masculine here dealing with freedom? He's got the angel of freedom, and I'm feeling that with this 10 of wands. It's like he's completed something, maybe a career goal, maybe a personal thing that he really wanted to do that he is in the process of completing. So he's really ready to experience his freedom. Maybe he's freeing himself up from a toxic twin flame relationship and is willing to give that freedom to this divine feminine as well, saying, hey, look, the world has changed. Let's see how this goes. Let's lighten up a little bit. I want to love you. I was made for loving you, baby. You were made for loving me. Kiss. The Dynasty album, their disco album. I know I can't explain it either, but blessed be Gene Simmons. Blessed be Paul Stanley. I always was a fan of Ace Frehley anyway, and as well as, the cat. Why can't I suck at names and I could remember 3 of them. Please don't torch me because of it. Maybe it'll come around in my brain before this video is out. God, I hope so. Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons, Ace Frehley. Come on, the drummer, the cat. Oh, damn, I have no memory. Hey, I'm going to be 52 this year. Cut me some slack. I need to get Prevagen. But this card of freedom here, definitely, he's got the courage to pull this off with the angel of freedom. That's also about breaking chains from the past. This is really lovely. I like these two a lot. Let's get the next 2 cards down from the Whispers of Love Oracle. I love this deck so very much. Will represent the voices of the higher selves of all involved. Now, this deck can be not brutal, but can often come right out and say, just do this. This is what this is. A real clarifying voice like the higher self often does. Nice deep breath. Here we go. The higher selves of all involved, please. 2 cards. 1 for the divine feminine king archetype, 1 for the divine masculine detective archetype. In this Capricorn collective, sun, moon, rising, Venus sign, happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, intimate, romantic, sexual, satisfying soulmate contract for April, May 2020, whether they are together or not, higher selves of all involved, please a whisper of love for both of them. First for the divine feminine, king archetype, thank you. And please 1 for the divine masculine detective archetype. If 2 cards are in my hand, I will reshuffle. When I say 1 card, I mean 1 card. Be in the present and dream of the future. When we dream, everything is possible. Now, what I find interesting about that is obviously where we are on planet Earth. We are in that tricky place, right? Where we may have all these dreams, but have no idea how to what? Manifest it. But the angel of manifestation is walking with her and working with her through that. So it's okay for her to really go into that higher place and dream big. Because here's the truth of the matter for most of us, I think all of us, but to a certain amount of percentage, that the things that we really want, the things that we really dream, we did not give ourselves. They're written on our hearts, right? Our heart's desires are part of the contracts that our souls were chosen to play out in this life. So oftentimes, the things that we really want, the things that we burn for, the things that we yearn for, particularly happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, sexual, intimate, romantic, soulmate contracts, are things that are written. They're going to happen, but not until we're ready. And there's nothing that we can do to speed up or slow down that, particularly not now, right? So the paradox is though it feels like it may never happen, and now that we're all on lockdown, there's nothing we can do about it. We're being accelerated. So things, though it looks like nothing is going on, things are happening very, very quickly. So for this king archetype, this divine feminine king archetype, to get up into the stratosphere, look bigger picture, be in the present moment, and dream of the future, she will get that everything is possible. But there still might be a lot of wisdom that has to be accrued along the way. That's just how it is. Like, you don't want to let a 3-year-old drive a Mack truck. Well, you don't want to let a 3-year-old drive at all, right? That we just have to get to a certain place in our life before we're able to do that kind of stuff. Who we got for the divine masculine? Be willing to express love. When we express love, we begin to receive more love. Well, giving and receiving are one in truth, according to the Course in Miracles. So be willing to express love. And it feels like he might not be totally ready to do that yet. But with this card of courage, emotionally, he's feeling it. And if he can really get the clarity that he seeks, the healing that he seeks, the enlightenment, then with that angel card of freedom. But right now I could see he's like, well, I think about this. What do I do? What have I done? What am I gathering information through analysis here? So mentally he's still, finding the clues along the way. Is this the right time? Right? Is this the right person? Am I ready to say, like, even in my life, I've said to certain men in my life, by the way, I'm gay. Check your gaydar battery if you didn't know that. There have been men that I have dated that I've said to him, oh, I love you. Like I would say to a friend. A Capricorn, as a matter of fact, I said to many years ago, I realized, oh, I love you. And he was like, uh-oh. I'm like, I didn't mean it that way, but it was the last time I saw him. I was like, okay, that's on you. I meant I love you like I love everybody. And you know what? That's part of my contract in this life. I don't care. Democrat, Republican, conservative, liberal. I'm here to love you all. That doesn't mean I have to like what you're doing, but I can love the soul that's in that body, right? So be willing to express love, perhaps even unto himself. Capricornians. One last card down. A healing mantra deck card from the healing mantra deck from Matt Kahn, Hay House author, YouTube and sensation. Really, go check out his when I'm down and troubled and I need a helping hand and nothing is going right, I go binge watch Matt Kahn videos. He's wonderful. Now keep in mind, I'm not getting kickbacks from him or Hay House. He don't know me, and Hay House doesn't want me as an author or a teacher. I'm a gay purple-haired witch. You just can't see it in this light. Overtone purple for brown. But look, as a spiritual teacher, to me, we're all spiritual teachers, but we teach by example first. What I do as a spiritual teacher in terms of my career is I share what works for me. Like, you'll never hear me recommend something that I have not worked with for a while. That's like recommending a restaurant you've never eaten in. Oy vey. Let's get you a healing mantra card. Now, how this works is that we're only getting one. So whether you are the divine feminine king or the divine masculine detective, it doesn't matter. Work this mantra because you're going to be helping yourself heal. It's a healing mantra card. But it will be helping the other, your soulmate here, whether you are together or not, whether you even know each other or not, you're going to help each other heal. Cool. Nice deep breath. As I ask the Ascended Masters of Soulmate contracts, yep, they're like specialists in a law firm. I was raised by a lawyer. So please, my ascended masters of soulmate contracts, one card in clarity, the perfect healing mantra for this Capricorn collective. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. Happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, intimate, sexual, romantic, satisfying soulmate contract for April, May 2020. What is their perfect healing mantra? Demystifying the darkness. Oh, isn't that funny? The camera light shut off when I said darkness. Ooh. Demystifying the darkness. My shadow shows me where my love needs to be sent. So we're looking about embracing the shadow here. I named my house Elysia after the Elysian Fields, the spa rejuvenation center of the underworld, because I've been in the underworld so many times. I have the River Styx speed pass, right? There's just a portal in my house. I can just go there. Friends of Hades and Persephone, my shadow shows me where my love needs to be sent. Now you notice one side of the card has the name of the mantra, the other side the mantra, which is why I'm going to read to you from Ye Old Bookie book that came with, to give you a little bit extra information here, which I find very, very helpful. Demystifying the darkness. My shadow shows me where my love needs to be sent. When darkness is demystified, the scariest feelings, thoughts, ideas, and beliefs are seen as cries for attention from your most hurt and broken parts. And you know what? I can see that in both of them. Both with that Eight of Pentacles in the emotion here, as well as that Courage, Strength card for them emotionally. I can get why he's doing the Two of Swords analysis and why he wants the sunlight, the sun. Once the darkness is illuminated, you are able to be the light that transforms the dark instead of hiding in the light to avoid moments of darkness. In other words, no more spiritual, emotional bypassing. Oh no, have to stay in the vortex, otherwise I won't get what's on my vision board. Honey, who had this global situation on their vision board? No one. You might have had, I need some time to myself, but you know, we can't spiritually bypass. And if you're an empath, forget it. You're not even feeling it's not mostly your stuff. You got to feel it to heal it. Embracing the shadow might be our only way through. Just as the light can acknowledge how much pain lurks in the darkness, it is the power of your unconditional love that brings your shadow out of hiding. So it's even sort of like inner child work, right? When the inner child tantrums, right? Children, we all deal with entitlement, divine feminine king archetype, but it's usually a shadow that we don't want to acknowledge, so that child ends up running the show when you're tired, when you're overloaded. It lashes out. So to give yourself time to do that work, inner child work is a brilliant modality to help you embrace the shadow. Although as a pagan myself, I just go talk to Lord Hades. River Styx speed pass. Talk about bridge and tunnel. This mantra is ideal for overcoming fear, dealing with night terrors, which I've never had, thank the gods, and transcending the perception of scarcity, because you cannot have a thought of fear without lack, and you cannot have a thought of lack without fear. Course in Miracles. Watch how I weave it all together. And let's watch how I weave it all together as I will pop up a picture in what we call the overview. You'll see the entire spread, and we'll see what else presents itself, shall we? Nice deep breath. Magic clap. We have the Divine Feminine King archetype in the shadow, excessive feelings of entitlement, rulership without restraint, the light attribute she's shooting for, enlightened, benevolent leadership benefiting those in your charge. And that would make sense. What she wants is that Aquarian, Ixchel, Eagle Woman, higher point of view, more egalitarian. Look up the word egalitarian. It's a beautiful word. It really is about fairness and seeing things from the lighter, higher perspective of it all. Fairness, humanitarianism, etc. But what she has to get there is that Nine of Cups, the wish fulfillment card, Kuan Yin, compassion. being compassionate with herself, be compassionate with others. And if these two know each other, being compassionate with this detective. With that 10 of Wands he's got in his soul position, he really had stuff on his own soul's journey that he really had to take care of before these two could really help each other heal, and that's understandable. And what's on her mind is a new potential, a new beginning, a seed thought. Perhaps she's thinking about a reboot with this detective archetype, and you know, she's got that card, be in the present and dream of the future. Well, maybe she is dreaming of a future with, if not this divine masculine detective specifically, if they have not met, then with this one specifically, if they have. And in her are these emotions. You see the learner. So I'm going to say that demystifying the darkness, finding where love needs to be sent within here, may very well be part of that process, because we need the shadows. We need to know the parts of us, the feelings with us, the energies within us that need more love, not less. Thank you, Matt Kahn. And the point of view of the soul is that all of this will be done with victory, but she's got to want it, right? She's got to be willing, element of fire, will, desire, that 7 of Flames to gather the momentum in terms of victory to overcome this. Because with the Angel of Manifestation there, she is on her way into bringing this into physical form, but she's going to have to clean out and work with and really learn from some of that emotional stuff going on there with that 8 of Pentacles. But that the overall message from the higher self is be in the present and dream of the future. So that really says that these two are not together, but that doesn't mean that they couldn't be in the same domicile, but things kind of suck right now, because things kind of suck right now. But what better time to embrace the shadow? Let's look at the divine masculine detective archetype, the shadow attribute, voyeurism and falsifying information. Now, voyeurism is a little different now than it used to be, because you can, like, you know, get on Google and find out info about people. It's not so much about binoculars through windows, but detectives have to do that too. Private eyes, private dicks, as they are often called. The light attribute, great powers of observation and intuition, desire to seek out the truth. And if that is a desire to seek out the higher truth, that does make sense with the element of fire here, with the sun, Apollo, right? That clarity, that higher truth. Light is truth. So enlightenment is in truthment. There's also honor and integrity. A lot of happiness and healing with that card of the sun. And really looking around his spread here, there's nothing that heavy duty that needs to be lit up or lightened by the card of the sun in the spread, being that it's something that he wants. It's something that he can get through the Page of Cups, a real initiation in terms of a beginning, a real innocent beginning of learning to love the self, of self-reflection, or at least learning about his own emotional intelligence, trusting his intuition that what he's feeling may not be predictive, but is giving him the clues he needs, perfect word for a detective, moment by moment by moment. And yet his mind is just going to go back and forth in terms of gathering information, analysis. Not should I do this or should I do that, but what do I think about this and what does that mean? And back and forth like two fencers, sword play, the left and right hemispheres of the brain sort of duking it out. But if you can just analyze, keep taking on the information, then that should touch him into the truth that he has the strength in his emotional field. He has that emotion. Yes, he may be going through his 12 labors emotionally, and that would be indicated in that 10 of Wands there, then in the position of the soul. The voice of the soul saying, honey, you're on your last labor. Keep going. There's a whole new life for you on the other side of this. You're just not done yet. And that is certainly indicated with the Angel of Freedom, that he is freeing himself, what? Most likely from some of the darkness that's being demystified in that healing mantra card, but that the real challenge for him might well be the voice of the higher self here saying, be willing to express love. When we express love, we begin to receive more love, and maybe that's expressing love for himself, which might feel a little awkward at first with that narcissist. Now, it's not a narcissist card, but it is the myth of Narcissus there, that own self-reflection to love what is rising within him, which of course in this mantra card, Demystifying the Darkness, my shadow shows me where my love needs to be sent. So there is a wonderful movie that you can find called The Shadow Effect by Debbie Ford. It is a Hay House movie, and this is a Hay House product, this healing mantra card, that it's a good introduction to shadow work, but then again, you can dive into the work of Carl Jung, Jung. You can look into the more pagan shamanic aspects of descent into the underworld, the shamanic descent, and all of that stuff. But whether you are the divine feminine king or the divine masculine detective, it is by demystifying your own darkness that you help each other heal, whether you know each other or not, in this soulmate contract. Well, it sounds very Capricorn. I gotta say that. It's a lot of work going on here, both sides. So, like, they could both be Capricorns, one than the other, one might be Sun, one might be Moon, however that plays itself out. This is worth doing. Nobody gets to the top of the mountain bitching and moaning. Well, I guess you can, but you then don't enjoy the vista once you're there, right? So take it slow and steady wins the race. Everything is on pause right now, so take advantage of the healing and the work that is available to you, my Capricorn collective, Sun, Moon, Rising signs, and Venus signs. So let me give the blessing. May the Capricorn collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs be blessed with all that they need in their soulmate contracts, their happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, intimate, romantic, sexual, satisfying contracts, that they may heal, that they may grow, that they become the best that they can be, fulfilling their role in their own individual lives, in this soulmate contract, and fulfilling their roles in the divine plan for the well-being of all. So mote it be. And so it is. Please do like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and comment below, as I wish you, as ever, the very best and the very blessed of April, May 2020. My darling earth sign, my Capricorns, my mountain goats, hail, farewell, and blessed, blessed be.